doing a Viktor game VOD review. This is against Honestly Sarcastic, who is a Viktor player that I know from around. He's pretty good, so this should be some fun games. What do we mull? Mulling the Foff and the Darius here. If you see Darius in your opener, it's pretty much always correct to just send him to the bottom. You play three of him, kind of for the express purpose that you can just send him to the bottom because like you'll draw into another one. And then sending Foff because Foff's application is pretty niche, pretty few and far between against Viktor, especially in the early game. So not a card that we really need to be seeing. He's going to start with the Soaring Scout, which is a pretty weak open from Viktor, to be honest. I'm surprised he didn't just make a token. Makes me think that he's trying to ramp into something specific. Maybe like a Watcher or maybe like a Riptide Rex in hand. I'm looking at the cards. I know I already bottomed a Darius, so if I get rid of the second one, I might not find one all game. So it kind of puts me in a position where I do have to take the Darius. Gonna go Yordle and make a token. Pretty standard play. Does mean that we're gonna be able to walk over this scout for free, which is pretty good. On our turn, we're gonna go Merchant over, pitching Cleave. Seems correct to me. I mean, you don't really need Cleave. You're looking at his base and you're thinking, what am I gonna use this Cleave for, right? Right here, I'm debating between either playing the stack deck this turn or discarding it for the Zon, and I decided to discard it. I figure that my rune development's too slim to play it now. Although this is an interesting play that I make. I'm not sure why I did this. So my hand is stack deck, Gust, Flash, Foff, Darius. I can just play Darius to base here and pass. But for some reason I opt to do the stack deck. That's very interesting. Like, what am I hoping to find off a stack deck? I end up finding a sneaky deckhand, which is like good. Like that's not a bad. But like, why didn't I just play the Darius and just do then I could hold up both Gust and Foff, or no, I'm sorry, Gust and the stack deck on his turn, and then like have the Darius just, and now I'm just discarding the Darius. Like, what am I doing? No, this is definitely. I don't know. I disagree with a lot of these plays that I've made. I don't think I should think I should have just played the Darius and passed, and then done the stack deck when he walked in. Like I can just easily gust this Yordle right now. Like if you got like Viktor doesn't have any accelerate units. If you just like okay, I get called. I get completely blown out there. I was not expecting, I remember this. I wasn't expecting him to be on Call to Glory. I end up playing around this later, but for this first engagement, I end up playing into it. I maybe should have just let him go for the trade there, and then because I can just accelerate the Kaisa on my turn. Yeah, see, I'm just getting like absolutely blown out here. Like first I go for the Gust, he has the call for it. Then I go for Foff, and then I get blown out by a Sprite Mother. Um, I think this is just like I think there's a lot going on here, a lot of missequence, like a lot of misplays from my perspective that I think are worth talking about. If your opponent offers you a trade like this, where they walk their two into your two, and you have the option to gust, it's never correct to gust because against pretty much any color except for like red, like Kaisa can't do this. Um, is like the only example. Like Kaisa can't do this, but they're just gonna use something if they can get out of the gust range. Now, not only do they win that combat, but they just ate your gust for free, right? They didn't spend anything, like realistically, to eat your gust, which is insane value for them, you know. And then I decide instead of doing the safe play, which is to flash both of my guys to base, I decide to take the risky play and Foff his guy. the problem with that is obviously, I get destroyed by the Sprite Mother in hand. Which I should have read. Like I see four blue up. Like am I not reading this the Sprite Mother? So far I've already made like several misplays that are probably gonna lose me this game if I mean I'll spoilers, I do lose this game. But this game was super winnable if I had, I think, done a couple things differently. So he's tapped out, which means we get to accelerate the Kaisa in. That's definitely one saving grace. Get to go to four here, I think. I don't think, yeah. Okay, we go to four. I mean, we're ahead on point tempo. We still have this flash. We can flash back and then like walk over his guy's next turn, which is pretty good. Um, but like our hand's pretty weak. Like we really don't have a lot going on at the moment. I decided just to pass back to him. He's gonna go smother in. And then I think I just flash both the dudes, both our guys. It's maybe correct to just let the sneaky die here. Yeah, so you see I'm conflicted about whether or not to move the Kaisa back. The problem with moving the Kaisa back is now we used our flash, but like we used our flash to save the sneaky. I think it's better to just let the sneaky die and then force him to spend resources to get over the Kaisa. And then we flash, save the Kaisa, right? And then next turn, like worst case scenario, we go like Kaisa up and then like ride the wind over and then like back. Like we still go to six. We still like in a position to win. We're drawing like four cards if we Kaisa to ride the wind, right? So I don't think saving the sneaky was at all necessary. I think that was definitely a suboptimal line because like what is the sneaky doing? Like he has units to defend the like both of these battlefields. Like sneaky's not walking over anything. So there's no reason to save the sneaky here. And now he doesn't have to spend any resources to out in quotation marks this Kaisa, right? He can just walk in for free. And then he can either hold up all of his mana, which is really bad for us, or that's interesting. I didn't notice that before. He's like dividing his mana here. I don't know if he's like subconsciously like thinking about this or if he's like actively dividing the mana to like count. But I mean, 5 and 3, there's a lot of cards that could be, but like that could be another call to glory. That 5 mana. I'm thinking. I didn't notice this when I was playing. I'm just noticing this now. 5 mana. That could be like a read that he has Comet in hand, but he might be like bluffing us here. But yeah, I didn't notice that. That's very interesting what he's doing with his mana. That's something to keep in mind against any opponent. Like if they're doing stuff with that, like that with their mana, like that's definitely something to keep in mind to try and notice. Okay, he discards a Rex for the Zon. Interesting. Okay, moves the Yordle up. He probably could have just moved the Yordle in the first place and kept the token in base, but I suppose it doesn't matter that much. Okay, doing 3 for the Daring Poro and a token. That's decent follow-up for him. Okay, so he does Daring Poro and a token, passes on that. Our draw is pretty lackluster, just drawing into a Pouty Poro. Um, we have a lot of cards in trash. So this is something that I didn't read when I was playing this game because I haven't like let's be realistic. Victor is not a deck that I'm playing into all the time, and like it's a deck that kind of has a lot of different cards that it can play, which is definitely one of the main struggles I would say against playing against these like rogue decks. Um, is that I mean it's a struggle people have when they play against Annie is you don't know what version of the deck, what specific cards your opponent is playing. So I'm actually at a little bit of a disadvantage this game because my opponent knows what's in my deck, but I have no idea the cards that he's playing. Right, like I got blown out by that Call to Glory because I didn't know he was playing Call to Glory. Right, I maybe should have made that read initially that like there's a chance he's playing Call to Glory, so I should be playing around it. Right, at least for game one. And he leaves 5 mana up, which I kind of don't like internally register that this is like a falling comet, which it ends up being. I think I walk Kaisa in here, I get cometed, and then I lose the game basically because I just don't have an out for that. So like the one takeaway I really want you to have from this game is that when you're playing against these rogue strategies like Victor or like Lee Sin or like even like Ari, to an extent, like Darius, there's a lot of space in these decks to play tech cards. And so you really do need to familiarize yourself with the most popular ones for sure. Like I should have read Comet, I should have read Call to Glory. Like those are two cards that I knew he was probably could have been playing and I didn't play around. And then on top of that, um, you need to be, just mindful of like the type what your opponent could have. And I know that's harder against decks like Victor, but um, I just to be honest, this game one, I just wasn't really thinking about the cards my opponent was holding up, and that's definitely why I lost. All right, so let's continue. I go 4 for Annie. What am I grabbing? I think I grabbed Gust here. Maybe that was a different game. What do I get? I do grab the Gust. Okay. Yeah, I walk in with the Kaisa, I get hit by the Comet, which I'm like stun locked. Like he does Comet and I'm like, "Oh crap, I didn't even register that that could have been Comet." And so now I'm looking at my board and like, I thought that was I was reading like a second Call to Glory or something. And so like I was thinking, "Oh, I'm going to grab Gust, so when I walk in and he goes call, I can just Gust his guy, right?" In response. Obviously I got commented and now this gust is useless. Like this gust doesn't do anything, right? Like now I'm like behind like an infinite amount of tempo. Like I'm not going to be able to score this turn. He's going to score twice, go to 6 and like the game's over. Like I didn't read that comment. I didn't play around the comment and now like there's nothing I can do to win this game. Um so that's definitely a big problem and there's like really nothing I can because like if I had read Comet that like he had Comet, I could have grabbed Falling Star, right? I Falling Star the mother and the Yordle. Okay. I walk in with the Kaisa. He goes Comet on Kaisa. I ride the wind, the sneaky deckhand. I go up with sneaky deckhand. I ride the wind. I back. I'm at 6 points, right? That's a position where you can win the game, right? Is it a great position to be in? Not particularly. I mean, you're cycling 2 cards off the Zon, so like maybe you find something good, something that like a Vi or a Darius or like a Kaisa. But like the number one thing you have to do in Annie is put yourself in a position where you can win, and this is not a position where like there's no combination of cards from this position that wins me the game. Like this game, like I just completely floundered that. I end up going up, trading off some guys. He throws a Watcher on the board, clears all my units. I'm at 5 points. You know, you're never winning the game from 5 points. So I end up just scooping it up, I think. Yeah. So I thought that first game really important to just be like game ones, especially against these rogue decks, can be difficult, you know, because you got to play around these cards that like there was, you know, if I had gone into, you know, I'm going into this matchup blind, there's no way for me to know what cards are in his deck, right? There's no way for me to know with certainty what I should be playing around. But like if you're familiar enough with the card pool, if you're familiar enough with like the play style of these decks of like okay, we know Viktor likes to go spell heavy, right? He likes to use the tokens and then back the tokens up with like a bunch of spells from hand. Like that's a super common Viktor play style. And so if I'm thinking like that's what he's going to be doing, I need to be aware of all the spells. Like that's kind of like a big ask for a lot of players to be like, I have to know every spell that Viktor can play and play around all of them. And like, yeah, you kind of do, right? Like you have to play around as many as you can at every stage of the game until you're certain like which ones he's playing and which ones he's not. And then at that point, you can kind of like shift, like games 2 and 3, you can kind of shift. That's what I do here. We'll watch. But I kind of shift. And so now I'm not playing around a bunch of these other cards that I thought, like, oh, he's on yeah, I can't think of any specific cards. Like there's no stupefy, right? There's no stupefy in his deck. Like we didn't see a single stoop, right? So I'm like, he's not on stupefy. You know, he's not on like these like small cost. He's like on really big cost spells, right? He's on the comet. You know, he's probably on singularity. We didn't see one, but if he's on comet, you know, he's probably on singularity. Um, you know, we saw the call to glory, so I'm like, he's playing some sort of buff cards in his deck. You know, and now I'm thinking like, what other buff cards is he playing? Is he playing back to back? Like if he's playing Call to Glory, I feel like there's a pretty good chance he's on back to back, right? So like you can kind of make these extrapolations about like the cards in your opponent's deck when they only show you like a handful, right? Because like these cards that they're playing kind of give you hint to as the like overall strategy. And so it's like just off that one game, I'm already kind of like super narrowed down on like the cards that are in his list. So let's continue on. We open up let's see, what did we mull? We mulled Darius. Okay, just Darius. I opened Merchant and Sneaky, which is like the best two cards you could open.
But you have to put it on the 12th.
The 12th time?
At 10, or the other at 10:40.
Okay. Okay. We open up Merchant Sneaky, which is like the best two card open you can have going first. We end up drawing another Sneaky, but like, you know, that's fine. We can just discard it for the Merchant. Um, let's see what he does. Turn one. Turn one goes, yeah, two drop into token. That's like this is like the kind of the problem with Viktor is that he's one of the few decks that can like consistently when he goes second put 2 units on the board, which is pretty strong. Luckily, we kind of opened the counter open to that, which is Merchant into Sneaky. That's like does really well into his open here. Okay, I'm having some issues with the camera. Let's see what he does. So he goes Raven Bloom in. He's thinking about where he wants to put it. He puts it on the. He puts it here. That's really interesting. So I think in this situation, I know that I got blown out last time by Call to Glory, but I'm realizing now. I don't think I realized this when I was playing this game initially that he probably doesn't have Call to Glory, Or maybe he does and he's like next leveling me. Because like if he had Call to Glory, he would go to the tree, right? And then I go Gust, he goes Call. Not only does he blow out my Gust and eat my guy, but he draws a card, right? But maybe he knows that I know if he had Call to Glory, he would go to tree. So like now he's going to the Trifarian. That's interesting. But I guess on Trifarian he goes to 3, which means that any spell in hand, like any reaction that he can play, like if he was playing Stupefy, which I mean maybe he is. I could have been wrong about that. Um, Stupefy is kind of a low investment card. But like let's say he does stoop, like if I go Gust on the dude on the Ravenbloom, and he goes Stupefy on the merchant, his Ravenbloom goes to 4, which then dodges the Gust. So like there's a lot going on right here that I didn't initially recognize when I played this game against him. Let's see what I end up doing. I probably just do the stack deck and then like let the trade go through. There's an argument I shouldn't even stack deck here, but we'll do the stack deck. Hopeful stack deck. Yeah, just grabbing stack deck. Hopeful is like kind of whatever in this matchup. And then I end up offering him trade. That goes through. I think no matter what, it's just like not worth it. Like I think we have Kaisa in hand for follow up. There's like it's just like never worth it to like give him an opportunity where he can get value out of the cards in his hand. So we're just gonna go stack deck again. I mean, Gust Ride Flash. We'll probably just take the Flash here. I mean, it's a Dreaming Tree game. We have Kaisa in hand. We're just gonna Kaisa accelerate over this token and then have Flash for protection. Like this is a pretty dominating position that we're in at the moment. Very interesting. Very interesting. He's gonna comment on the sneaky. I remember this. I was thinking like, what is he cooking with that one? Right here, I'm debating whether or not I should gust the sneaky, but like the math just kind of doesn't work out, right? Like I gust sneaky here. I go to 6 mana on my turn. I want to do the accelerated Kaisa. So like if I do accelerated Kaisa, what turn am I playing the sneaky on, right? Um so I think I decide to just let it go. Like I don't think this sneaky is like ever getting replayed. And if I draw into another sneaky, it's like now I just have 2 sneakies in hand and it's like completely dead. So I just say whatever, that's fine. Um, okay, end up doing just passing. I think I was supposed to do the stack deck on my turn because like he's not gonna create a showdown. So I should have used the one I had up to do the stack deck. Because there's gonna be no showdown this turn unless he does like a sprite mother, but I think we're just wasting mana. Okay, I end up being like, hey, let me do okay, I end up going back. That makes sense. I'll probably take the sneaky here. Yeah, yeah. See, that's what I was talking about, right? Like you end up finding the another sneaky, and then it's like there was no reason to gust the one initially, right? Now I just if I had gusted that sneaky when he did comment, I would just be down a gust for no reason. So I end up flashing the Kaisa from the Rex, go in with the Kaisa, go to 4, draw a card. I think I just falling star this Rex. Like if you have like if you have like a board developed like this where you have like Kaisa and like a 2 or like Kaisa plus anything, you can just comment. Like you can just put the comment on the board, you know? Like take out his guy. He's left with a token in base. Like I develop a pouty. I mean, sure, I mean I guess there's no reason not to develop the pouty to base here. It gives us like some sort of follow-up in case like the Kaisa gets outed somehow if he has like another comet. So I think that's probably correct. But like this game was just kind of like a tempo fest, right? Like if you kind of if you're like paying attention to like the stages of this game, like turn 1 we go merchant, turn 2 we go sneaky deckhand, right? We have both fields before he can even do anything, right? So then he's left within a position where he has to spend cards in hand and his energy, which we're talking about turn two here. He has 5 energy total, right? He has to spend his energy and his cards in hand to out, our sneaky deckhand or our merchant. And that's just not good value for him, especially when I have 3 mana up, right? So then, like, he's forced to take these super unfavorable lines. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he had Call to Glory in that hand when he walked in with the Raven Blue. He walks in with Raven Blue. I wouldn't be surprised if he did have Call to Glory, but he can't cast it, right? Like, he casts it and he gets blown out by like a gust. Like, it's over. Like, he loses the game on the spot right there. Like, it sounds dramatic, but like that's just kind of how swingy these games can be, against any deck. Annie against any deck, you give her, like one turn where she just scores 2 points, and then you end up in the situation where like I'm at 5 and you're at 1. Like I'm not losing a game where I'm up 4 points on you. It's just not happening. Like that's a really, really hard like position to lose from. Riftbound generally speaking suffers from this problem where like once you're ahead, it is really hard to like lose being ahead, to like get behind. Um, Not impossible. It happens, it happens all the time. But like once you're ahead, like you're quite favored. And I'm just gonna fast forward through this. He goes smother over our guy. I can't gust this token because it's on the Trifarian, so I just let it go. Doesn't matter. We're going to hold for 6. I end up flashing the Kaisa back, and then Kaisa cleaving over his board, going to 7. That was probably unnecessary. Like, I probably didn't even need to go to 7 there. But I just said screw it. I have Vi Ride in hand, so I'm kind of just setting up, putting him in a position where, like, because I have Vi Ride, the only scenario in which I lose is he's able to like hold stuff up to like out the Vi. So I'm just putting him in a position where like I'm threatening to win the game on both fields here. So he has to spend all of his resources to out both of these fields through like Void Seeker Gust in hand, by the way. Um, and then so he's just in a position where like he's like super unfavored to be able to out all of this and be able to deal with the Vi follow up. And like that's kind of what happens. He has to tap completely out for Watcher, and then it's like you tap out for Watcher, like the game's over. So then he ends up scooping that one, and then we go to game 3. All right, here's our open for game 3. He leads Ravenbloom. I lead Merchant. Pass back to him. He goes Ravenbloom in. I go Gust. This is kind of an interesting play for me. I agree with this play. Like, so the reason this play is kind of heads up is like we have the arenas, right? So like if he doesn't score this point, then I am going to be the first one at 2 points, which is really, really bad for him in terms of tempo. But if he's the first of 2, that's not that big of a deal because I'm going to 2 right after, right? Um, So it's like it's kind of the situation where like he's at way more of a risk if this gust resolves than I am if the gust doesn't resolve. So he ends up going call and response, which is totally fine, right? If he goes call and response, that's 3/4 of his mana to keep this Ravenbloom on field. That's just gonna die anyway next turn, right? So it's like it's super, super low value for him. Because now he's forced to just make a token and pass. And like that's not like a winning that's not like a winning board state. I think I end up just going in with the merchant, doing the effect, pitching ride, drawing a card. That's an insane draw, by the way. And then just cleaving over the merchant or over the Ravenbloom, drawing another card. Then I can do 3 for sneaky, go to 3 points, hold up 3 mana for seeker. Like this right here is a great example. Like a great example. Like this board state unlosable game. Like there is not maybe Kaisa. Most decks in the game cannot win the game from this position, right? Like he has a unit in base that contests nothing, right? So if he wants to out either of my guys, he has to spend, an ungodly amount of resources to out these freaking 2 might units, and then I just flash. I just go, oh, I'm gonna flash back to base. Or if it's something I can kill, like if he goes Call to Glory on this token, and I just go, okay, well I'm just gonna Void Seeker it, right? And then it's like, so what is he gonna do? Call to Glory again? Like two Call to Glories to out a merchant? Like there's no line here where he wins, right? Let's see what happens. Like worst case scenario, he goes like Rex and like goes, oh, I'm gonna Rex your merchant. It's like, okay, I'm gonna flash, I'm gonna draw a card, I'm gonna discard and draw. You can't contest the board with the Rex this turn, so I'm just gonna go in on my turn and score 2 more points. Now it's 5-1. Like the game is over, man. Like you're not winning when I'm up 4 points on you. And like there's no situation from this position in the game where he's not down 4 points. Like it's just impossible. I don't know. It's very interesting to me, just kind of how Riftbound as a game kind of plays. And to be fair, like Annie as a deck kind of operates on a different axis than a lot of other Riftbound decks. People like to in my testing group like to make fun of me. They say, "Sold, you don't play Riftbound, you just play Annie," and which is kind of true. But like, let's see, this is what I'm talking about. Right? He's gonna call to glory. He's gonna walk in like get Void Seeker, bro. Like like he goes down to 3. I'm not even in threat of Mother at this point, right? So like I'm playing around literally nothing. The only card that like does anything here is a second Call to Glory, which is like mid at best. But he doesn't have it, right? So he doesn't have it. Oh wait, does he? What's going on? He's thinking about something. Okay, he doesn't have it. And then he's forced to play, his 2 units to base. I'm going to 5 points. I get to just spend my whole turn doing whatever I want, right? Like, I'm in a position that, like, I feel zero threat at all. So I'm just gonna probably do the stack deck and pass. And then I have another Seeker to contest this Daring Poro. Ooh, the Darius isn't bad. Probably have to take that. What was the other ones? Merchant Cleave? Yeah, you just take Darius here. The Darius kind of makes me want to just play him to base and then like flash on his turn. And then we have like Darius Merchant Sneaky. Like that's pretty good. I think I probably don't do that though. I think I value the Seeker too highly. So I just untap and pass, yeah. I mean, that's probably correct because it's like if I don't Seeker now, like I'm never gonna have like a great opportunity to do the Seeker. So yeah, I think this was probably correct. Is I just do Seeker on the yeah, this was definitely correct. I just do the Seeker on the Poro. I'm pretty confident he doesn't have like another back to back in hand because if he did, I think he would have used it on the token last turn to beat my merchant. Um, so I'm pretty confident he doesn't have anything. He goes Watcher, which is like absolutely crazy work. He's gonna go Watcher in, probably just flash here, right? Like there's no reason not to. Yeah, I just flash both my guys, draw a card from the Dreaming Tree, trigger the Merchant, discard a Foff. Foff is actually like really suboptimal here because you want the Watcher on the field so you can kill it. Like you can't kill the Watcher if it's in base. I think that's a lot of thing a lot of anti players mess up is like do never Foff something if you can just kill it, right? Like you always save the Foff for like the thing that you can't kill, right? And like I don't even need to kill it this turn is like the thing, right? Like I'm at 6 points. If I do nothing else this turn and just pass, like I'm winning the game anyway. Um, I play Annie, get back, ride the wind. Seems like a good play. Setting myself up for like a Vi draw. I think we're winning this game next turn no matter what. I mean, this Darius in hand. I mean, Darius Foff in hand is like. I mean, I don't see how he beats that, you know? I'm going to be drawing another card because I'm going to probably flash this merchant. So I'm going to draw another card off the tree, discard and draw another card. So, like, I'm going to be seeing before my next turn, or like on my next turn, I'm going to see three more cards from the top of my deck, you know, if we include our normal draw. So, this is kind of the thing is like, if when you add up all this math, like, as long as you're playing to like draw into the cards that win you the game, you simply will, you know? And if you don't, you know, you simply will. So don't worry about it. You simply will win. I mean, that's really why Annie is so favored. It's just all the math is just in her favor. Like people talk about, oh Yi, his math is so good, he gets +2. Like, who gives a single heck about +2, brother? I have +2 points, you know? Like +2 might doesn't matter. It's over. It's GG. My buy is 27 might, brother. It's over. Concede. Alright, let's see what he does. He's just gonna make a guy, make a token. Okay, that's pretty weak. But like that's the thing. Like I'm talking about how his play here is weak. There's nothing in his hand that could win this from the game from this position. Like there's no there's no hand in the game in any deck in the game that wins from this position. Like what Kais is gonna rain my board? Okay, well here's a Darius and a Foff, right? Like here's a Darius and a Ride the Wind, you know? Like he's gonna time warp me with what mana, you know? It's like it's just like when you get in positions like this with Annie, it's like the game is just it's just over, you know? It's so hard to talk about the game from this position because like we won the game like 4 turns ago, you know? Like when that token failed to conquer, the game ended. And I think that's something people don't realize about Annie. He is holding up Comet mana, but like I have way too many guys for Comet to matter. So I just eat the Comet with like a low value resource like Annie, and then just Darius over, and it's just like, yeah, it's GG. So yeah, that's the Viktor matchup. It's hard to say exactly like this is how every Viktor game is going to go because there's a lot of cards in the Viktor card pool that we didn't see. Like I know for a fact that he's on Singularity and we just never saw it. Um, so and that Singularity is definitely a card that's like pretty strong, you know. I don't think it's like that powerful in the Annie because like Singularity is the type of card that we're playing. Like the deck is built to beat, you know, like we're built to beat Falling Star. So like, why would Singularity, you know, be better than be good against us if we're already trying to beat Falling Star? But overall, I think that was a somewhat. We played another match and I ended up losing. I mean, he did end up changing the deck to have cards to beat Annie, which was really funny. He put like in like Reaver's Row battlefield. Um, but I would say you're definitely favored into Viktor. It's definitely losable. Like those matches, like those games 2 and 3 looked super one-sided, but like there's a lot of positions where you can get kind of blown out if you like make a bad read or like you don't have the answer to something. Um, there's a lot of positions where you can get blown out. But like generally speaking, I would say that into Viktor, if you play correctly, if you leverage your tempo correctly, you don't overcommit into like those big blowout spells like Singularity. I think you're like legitimately like super fine. Um, you just have to keep him on the like against. I mean, this is like advice for every matchup. You just keep them on the back foot. You know, you keep them always trying to catch up with you, and as long as you never let them, kind of establish themselves on the board, you're winning 100% of the time. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll be uploading some more soon. Bye bye.